magistrate misunderstood. Is it dangerous? Sure. Is there a possibility that someone could have gotten hurt? They did get hurt, so clearly there's a possibility. Was there a high degree, a near certainty, as the Moore case put it? Was there a near certainty, a high probability that someone would die that night at that time, and that he knew it and disregarded it? The answer is no.
To dismiss. Good day, everyone, and welcome back to Law and Crime Diaries, the channel where we examine America's most shocking criminal cases and uncover the truth behind the headlines. Today, we are revisiting a case that has gripped the nation, a case that has haunted Malibu and the Pepperdine University community since a tragic day in 2023. For those of you who have been following, you know the details, but even now, new developments continue to emerge, bringing both legal and emotional complexities to the forefront. Before we continue, please do not forget to like this video, subscribe to Law and Crime Diaries, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on ongoing criminal investigations. Your support allows us to continue reporting on the truth behind the headlines, uncovering new developments as they happen, and providing a deeper understanding of complex cases that affect communities across the country. Every like, every subscription, every comment contributes to keeping these important stories alive, helping viewers understand not just what happened, but why it happened and the legal processes that follow. Today's story centers on Fraser Michael Bohm, the driver accused of killing 4 Pepperdine University students in a high-speed crash in Malibu back in 2023. This case has been one of the most closely followed in recent years, not only for the tragic loss of young lives, but for the legal debates surrounding accountability, road safety, and the interpretation of criminal intent in high-stakes traffic fatalities. Recently, a judge refused to dismiss the murder charges against Bohm, despite arguments presented by his new defense team. This decision ensures that the case will move forward toward trial in January.
I'm sorry, when you're driving 95 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour, you know you're driving extremely fast. You know that.
If other cars are driving 70, 75, 80 on Pacific Coast Highway, which, Your Honor, they do all the time. I mean, now we're just talking about perception, right? Now we're talking about the court's perception. You must perceive that you're going fast. I was on that road 2 weeks ago. There were sports cars passing me. I was going 70.
A date that is being marked by legal observers and the families of the victims alike. The defense, led in part by Alan Jackson.
The question now that we're facing is whether there was sufficient evidence presented to the committing court in order for there to be the order holding to answer. And the defense has said time and time again that speed alone is not sufficient. And speed in isolation is not the determination.
Who represented Karen Red, argued that there was insufficient evidence to support the murder counts. They also contended that Bohm was reacting to an aggressive road rage driver, suggesting that his actions were not premeditated or intentional, but were rather the result of extreme stress and fear.
Did Fraser Bohm commit that objectively involved a high probability that it would result in death? That's the question before the court. That was the question before the magistrate. What happened on Pacific Coast Highway was a tragic collision. But tragedy does not equal murder. And the law does not...
In the moment. Prosecutors, however, firmly reject this narrative. They argue that Bohm was solely responsible for the crash, that he was speeding excessively, and that his actions directly resulted in the deaths of 4 young people. The contrast between these positions is stark, and it highlights the complexity of the case. On one side, a defense team seeking to contextualize Bohm's decisions during the moments leading up to the crash. On the other, prosecutors who maintain that the evidence supports criminal accountability at the highest level, including murder charges. This refusal to dismiss the charges is significant. Legal experts have weighed in, noting that judges rarely dismiss murder charges before trial unless there is a clear absence of evidence to support the prosecution's claims. In this instance, the judge determined that sufficient evidence exists to allow a jury to hear the case, weigh the facts, and determine responsibility. The ruling ensures that the trial will proceed.
Prosecution's case and the magistrate's holding order is that there's no evidence. The record is completely deplete of evidence that Fraser knew how fast he was going. That's why I brought up his statement.
How would somebody driving 100 miles an hour or 90 or whatever the speed actually was up in that range not know that you're going super fast? How would you not know that?
And that the public,
Really?
as well as the families involved, will have a formal legal venue to examine the tragic events in detail. For the families of the victims, this ruling represents both a continuation of grief and a sense of progress. They have been vocal about their need for justice, and the upcoming trial provides an opportunity to have their voices heard. Statements released by family members indicate a mix of frustration and cautious optimism. Many express that they're not only seeking accountability, but also hoping that the trial will shed light on circumstances that have remained unclear since that fateful day. Eyewitness accounts from the crash site, traffic camera footage, and analysis from forensic experts have all been key elements in building the prosecution's case. Investigators have meticulously reconstructed the moments leading up to the collision, determining that the vehicle driven by Bohm was traveling at a dangerously high rate of speed. Additionally, road conditions, visibility, and vehicle mechanics were all considered as part of a comprehensive investigation that aimed to leave no detail unexamined. Bohm's defense team has focused heavily on the narrative of a road rage incident. According to their statements, Bohm allegedly reacted to provocative driving behavior from another motorist, which they argue created a situation in which he acted out of fear rather than malice. Legal analysts note that while road rage defense arguments are sometimes invoked in traffic-related incidents, they rarely absolve a driver entirely of responsibility, especially in cases involving multiple fatalities. As the trial approaches, public interest remains high. Pepperdine University, located just miles from where the crash occurred, has maintained a formal stance of support for the families of the victims while emphasizing campus safety and student welfare. University officials have reiterated their condolences and confirmed ongoing initiatives to improve traffic safety around campus areas, a direct response to the tragedy that struck their community. The case also raises broader questions about accountability in fatal crashes. How do courts determine the line between reckless behavior and criminal intent? How does evidence of fear or provocation weigh against actions that result in death? Legal scholars note that murder charges and traffic fatalities are relatively rare and require careful consideration of intent, recklessness, and foreseeability of harm. Bohm's case is being closely watched as a potential precedent for similar cases in the future. Media coverage has played a significant role in shaping public perception of the case. News outlets have reported extensively on both the crash itself and the subsequent legal proceedings, providing updates on court filings, motions, and procedural developments. Social media has further amplified public interest, with community members, alumni, and national observers discussing potential outcomes and sharing analyses of the case. The families of the victims have also pursued civil remedies in parallel with the criminal case. Lawsuits alleging negligence and seeking damages from parties involved in the crash or related circumstances remain under review. While these civil cases are separate from the criminal trial, they intersect in terms of evidence and public awareness, contributing to the broader narrative of accountability and justice. The refusal to dismiss the murder charges marks a turning point in the legal timeline. Defense attorneys may continue to file motions, but the court's ruling indicates a commitment to moving forward toward a full trial. This ensures that all evidence, witness testimony, and expert analysis will be presented in a public forum, allowing for a thorough examination of the tragic events and the legal questions they raise.